This chapter is very interesting, and let's see how we can do a justice for this. It is very important and talk about a glory of God. So basically, we try to, this chapter 11 has 55 verse and it's called Vishwaswarup Darshan Yoga. Here Arjun is asking Krishna that show me your real Rupa. Roop means darshan. Roop means what is your real form. So, and he's requesting. So this is the picture is like he's requesting, because the way the conversation going on the last chapter, what we realize, then now Arjun is convinced and he's asking and he's requesting that show me your real form. And very, the Krishna accept it, and then he show his real form, cosmic form. And that's where the whole conversation starts, and you will see the interesting conversation. So this chapter, Krishna also talks few dialogue. Arjun is also talking, and most importantly, the Sanjay, who is the narrator of this, is going to that Dhritarashtra. So let's see. So before we come to this chapter, we just recap the last chapter so that you can be all of us in the same tune. Last chapter 10, we talk about the Vibhuti Yoga. So the Krishna is explaining about the infinite appearances of the God, that you are appreciating the God in each and everything what we are experiencing in day-to-day life. And we did talk about how he is using his Yoga Sakti or Yoga Maya, and he also talk about the Bhakti Yoga, the fruits and effect. We talk about the Yoga Shakti of its own. So, and he gives a narration about where you can find the best of the best, that is his existence is there. Also, we talk about the self-effort. By self-effort, you cannot know the God. And we discussed and we come to conclusion that devotion, grace, it's important. So you need devotion, and most importantly, you need a grace. So without grace, you cannot realize the God. So self-realization. That's why you need a middleman. You need a teacher. You need a guru to talk about a devotion. You need to understand the devotion. You need to understand the importance of the grace. And then once the devotion mix up with the grace, then you are already realization will happen, and that will happen automatically. So again, and what happens when you receive the grace, that also we discussed. The lamp of wisdom is lit within us as a form of wisdom, and that will destroy the darkness of ignorance. So that is, and what we see and hear, that each and every action will be united with the God. So each and every actions, day-to-day life, what we are performing, you are living for the God. You are living for the divine. And that's where your wisdom is start. That is the real wisdom. You will get it. And for this, the key ingredients is, again, devotion. And we have the long list. Yes, last time we talked about, I don't want to go through again. So, but, and basically entire creation, you will see him, as Krishna explained, that each and every molecules, each and every, the best of Himalaya, best of best birds, best of best animals, or anything you take, the best, that is what the God, he says, I am there. And you will see my existence, my appearance, my manifestation in there. So you can, so if we want to, that is the reason also from this slide, what I was thinking after actually our class finished. God defined the best himself, that all the mountain and the Himalayas. So can we do as a human, whatever we do the best. So we try to go to that best, whatever, let's say, even though, let's say, we are putting the things, we are writing the things, we are practicing the things, no matter how much we know, but whatever we know, little bit, we do the best. And once we are going to that best, or so-called the perfection, we are actually going near to that God. So this is what we need to take away, that so when you become perfect, you become a God. You already achieve the godness, and you are already merged with that. So try our best, even nitty-gritty about our practices, how to sit, how to breathe, how to aware, how to do a mudras, so small things that makes us perfect. And that's where the perfection is a God. So in that sense also, we need to see this interpretation. And so this chapter is a lot of conversation is happening between the Arjun, Krishna. So the first 1 to 4 words, Arjun have a very keen desire to see Krishna's Vishwarup, or the cosmic form of a God. So he's requesting. Then there is a description is given by. So then after that, verse 9 to 14, Krishna showed him a Vishwarup, the cosmic form of his real Rup. And that's description, what is look like, is Sanjay. He is actually, remember the Dhritarashtra, the blind king, he is doing like a live telecast. The Sanjay is telling all this happening in this Kurukshetra. Only Arjun and Sanjay can see this, what is happening, because Sanjay is given that the Ved Vyasa is given the boon that you can see whatever this, and you can narrate all the story to Dhritarashtra. So actually, he is the one who is narrating what he is seeing this. So in that sense, he is also very lucky that he can see the universal or the cosmic form. So technically, Arjun and Sanjay only can see the cosmic form of the God. And then 15 to 31st chapter, the verse, once Arjun see this cosmic form, he's keep praising the Lord by seeing this, and he amazed by this so-called this form. And he's also describing 32 to 34 is influences by the God, that how 32 to 34, the Krishna is encouraging Arjun for the war, why he should be doing the war, and he's also going very straightforward in that sense. So we will see that. And 34 to 46, the more Krishna is revealing his different form, the negative power, positive power, and all this, he's in a way is become fearful. Arjun is getting now nervous and fearful, because he cannot imagine he's going very different form. So he requests Krishna to come back to the 2D shape, or that Chaturbhuj shape. So come to the normalcy. And then Krishna reveal his glory. He said, don't worry, I'm with you. And then he gives us, his helping hand. And then he give the assurance that don't worry about it. And then slowly he come back to that normalcy. And then he give Krishna talk about the essence of this chapter. He talk about the Ananya Bhakti. How and who can see me, this Rup? Who can see me, this cosmic form of myself? He give that key. He talk about that in 51 to 55. So that is the essence about it. So again, in order to see that, one liner is, we have to have enough, or remember, complete surrender to see the truth. That we need to develop. Okay. Yeah, so the previous chapter, Krishna has talked about his different vibhutis, the opulences and nourishment that increase the Arjun devotions. The more Krishna will talk about his opulences, Arjun devotion is increasing. And once the devotion is increasing, the trust is increasing, the faith is increasing. He wanted to see, he is falling in love again and again with it, and he wants to see that, give me more, and that's what makes his to this. And at the end, he is requesting, he cannot resist. Okay, now show me, like, enough talking, you show me something like that. So first chapter itself, first verse itself, Arjun asking. So he is continuing from the previous chapter, that having heard the supremely confidential spiritual knowledge, what he's talking about, and he's revealing out of all the compassions to me, and my illusion now dispelled. So Arjun said that all whatever I was thinking about what is God, what is my understanding about that I am the one who is doing and we need to do it by the knowledge and all this is going away. He said, you show me the real essence that everywhere is your presence is there. The divine presence is there. And he accepted in a way that Krishna is not only the best friend, but he's also supreme divine personality. Because the way Krishna explained in the last 4 to 5 verse that he is everywhere, the best of the best. So then he liked to see. He said, I have heard from you, O Krishna, I am heard from you. All your imperishable majestic glories, untainted and their imperfections, perfections. You are the non-doer, but you are not responsible for our actions. You are impartial and equal to all. There is no partiality. That he already discussed about it. He's same for everyone, because we are the one who is responsible for all our karmas and our actions. And the divine is giving, as we discussed, if you remember, we gave the example of water drop. So this is what Arjun is convinced, and he understand and he accepted that whatever you have said to me, I understand that. Now to conclude, that object of adorance is everything. You will see that. So you take any object, any form, formless or without form, I can feel it, and I can see your divine personality. I can feel it, and I can meditate on that. So he's keep praising this, and he's trying to realize now what Krishna is telling the last few chapters. So he's more is like, yes, I'm acknowledging. So in a way, Arjun is more convinced and acknowledging the truth that divine is everywhere. Your form is everywhere. You are formless as well as you are in a form in front of me. So he requests, O Supreme Lord, you are precisely what you declare yourself to be. He said, whatever you talk about, you are exactly the same. Now I desire to see your divine cosmic form, O greatest of persons. So he says that I have a desire to see your divine cosmic form. Now here, so in that sense, Arjun already accepted the reality here that Krishna is a divine personality, because the way he is now starting the conversation is happening last few verses. Now he is already convinced, and he is asking him that, okay, show me the real, your cosmic form. What you are seeing, I think you are not the way you are looking for. You are, although you are look like me, or you look like a human, but show me the way you are explaining me. You show me your divine cosmic form. Similarly, he is also compliment and complete faith. He says, I have the faith, complete faith in my personal form, yet I want to have a desire to see your Vishwaswarup. I can believe you 100%, I can trust you, but still I have a, like you still, if you can show me, so this is how he's like trying to see, try to feel it. And he wishes to view his own eyes. He said, I want to experience it. I want to see myself. Yes, you talk about it, I can understand, my intellect can understand, but it's the best I can see and you are in front of me. So he said, O Lord, all mystic power, if you think I am strong enough to behold it, kindly reveal that imperishable cosmic form to me. And the next verse, he says that, again he requests. Now, first he has a desire. Understand that. So we all have a desire to see the God, to whatever we want to achieve or you want to perform. But at the same time, we need to aware that desire won't be, that doesn't mean that other person or the God or whoever it is, or boss, they can fulfill our desire. So second step, he said that although he has a desire, he said kindly reveal. He has like requesting that, and also he's putting such a way that if you think I am strong enough to see that, then only you show me. Otherwise, you don't show me. So he's in a way, he knew that I don't know that I am capable of it or not. So he is very transparent here and very like a child mind. He's very neutral here. And he said, you decide that I am eligible or not technically. He's not asking that, yo, you show me. Now you talk enough to show me. I want to see. No. He said, you decide that I am a strong enough or not. If you think I'm a strong enough to see, because not everyone can see. Not everyone can experience the meditation power. If you are Kundalini rise or you have a full of energy, not everyone can handle it. So that is the conversation we should be growing. So when we learn higher level of meditation, higher level of yoga, we need to be, student has to understand that I am ready. Don't say, okay, just teach me and then give me the tools and all this. Majority time, we don't know that we are ready or not. So that's why you cannot have only a desire. You can put a desire and you can put a request. So this is the important thing, very subtle message we need to learn here. So Arjun indirectly says, if I am strong enough, behold it and kindly reveal it, your form. And now he is using the two words here, Yogeshwara, Yog Aishwarya. So Yog means union, yoga. Aishwarya is opulences, mystic opulences. So Yogeshwar also means another meaning of Yoga Ishwar or Yogeshwar, Aishwarya. So Lord of all the yogis. So he used this terminology, Yogeshwar. Show me, Yogeshwar, your real cosmic form to me, if I am eligible, if I am strong enough. Then Krishna says, O Parth, O behold Parth. Again, he used the Parth. He don't use Arjun. He don't use the Kunti Putra. He don't use any other form. He used the Parth. So he is like, oh buddy. Parth is like when he's become very friendly with Arjun. He used the Parth. My hundreds and thousands of wonderful forms of various shapes and size and colors. Now he's talking about, do you want to see? But do you know that I have a lot of hundreds and thousands of wonderful forms. So indirectly, he's telling that what you are asking, I have a lot of different forms, shapes, and size. So divine or the Krishna is preparing Arjun that be ready, that don't be, and Arjun must pay attention. That's what he's trying to preparing that. Don't look here and there, because there are so many minute things you will going to experience. You are going to see that. Although the form is one, but you will see the unlimited feature. So it's the same thing. It's like a phone. You have a one phone, but you have so many apps inside. Majority time, we never use the full apps. We don't know what are the feature, 100% feature of the phone. Similarly, so this is very like lovingly Krishna is telling that although I'm ready to show you, but be aware, I don't want you to miss any apps, anything, whatever, how beautiful is. So divine is telling that don't miss anything. Don't look here and there. I'm going to show you. So go to give me your 100%. I'm going to reveal you and try to grasp best of the whatever you can see in terms of size, in terms of shape, in terms of colors, and look at the minute detail. Although you look like a one, but there is so many things is happening, and contains the innumerable personalities and multitude shapes and different colors and the emotions, and you will see all this cosmic form that you cannot going beyond your imaginations and beyond your experience. So he is indirectly prepare and be ready that don't miss it. I'm going to reveal that. So this is a great thing. Again, he says that behold in me. So he's preparing Arjun again. That, oh Arjun, he used the son of Bharatas. He said, oh Arjun, all the 12 son of Aditi, 8 Vasus, 11 Rudras, twin Ashwini Kumars, or the 49 types of wind is within me. I'm going to reveal. Never reveal before that. I'm going to reveal you in front of you. So he's trying to prepare Arjun that ready that what you are going to see, what you are going to experience, what you are going to observe. So remember all this, he was talking about the previous chapter that all the Marut, all the wind, I am the Maruti. So all the 11 types of Shiva, I am the Rudra. So he's showing that he's talking about here the same thing. I'm going to, what I have explained and talked about in the previous chapter, I'm going to reveal you the same features here. So be attentive. And behold, Arjun, now entire universe and everything moving and non-moving assembled together in universal form. So everything come together. As long as, so you will see it's like a movie. Everything is moving and not moving, and each and every details. So it's like you are seeing the everything in a zoom out way. Whatever you wish to see, observe all this within this universe form. So whatever you can imagine, whatever you would like to see, everything you want to observe, everything under this universal form. So now, but you cannot see my cosmic form with this physical eyes of yours. He says that you need a divine eyes. So he said that I will grant you a divine vision. Remember this. This conversation is happening in the middle of the war. So there are so many. So he already paused the time in that way. So only Arjun can see. So Krishna says, I will grant you the divine vision. And the Sanjay, the other side, is doing the so-called the live telecast or the live translation, what he's seeing. So he is given the divine vision by the Ved Vyasa. So he also can see that, the actual Vishwaswarup. So only 2% can see the real cosmic form of Krishna. Behold my majestic opulences, so that you can see with this divine vision. Okay, now, so Sanjay said, so now he's revealing his Rupa. Now here, Arjun is not talking. Arjun is busy in observing and seeing this. Similarly, the Sanjay is the one who's seeing, and he's explaining to Dhritarashtra what exactly he's seeing. So that's what he says. O king, having spoken to this Supreme Lord of Yoga, Sri Krishna displaying the divine opulent from the Arjun, in front of Arjun. So what he says, that unlimited face, you will see he's talking about so many faces and eyes are decorated with the many celestial ornaments and wielding many kinds of divine weapons, is slowing, is tied to merging it. How many types of different garland and is in his body, and so many sweet smelling and heavenly fragrances, all these things is so slowly is like revealing himself about the different wonderful infinite things. Is you will see the different form of the different yogis and different celestial gods. Now he's using the word Aneka and Anant. So what he is seeing is Aneka. With so many things I'm seeing one by one appearing in front of me, and unlimited thing. So Aneka and Anant, same time, so many and unlimited things is going on in front of me. So he's trying to talk to this Dhritarashtra. He's also said, Sanjay also said, thousands of sun is coming and blaze the sky together, and there is no match about this kind of splendor of sky. I never see that in my life. There is Arjun can see the totality of this universe established in one place. So whole universe is come together in one place, and in that body of gods, then Arjun is the full of wonder. So Sanjay is explaining and talking to this Dhritarashtra that Arjun, by seeing this and manifestation is happening, Arjun is getting wonder that, and his hair is standing on this hand. So he's like surprised and like very all the goosebump is going up, and then like, you know, what is happening? Like he's like a mix of feeling, surprise, fear, and wondering that what is happening now. So this is what is start, and by seeing that his palpitation is going up, he's sweating, horrifying, he's like he cannot speak properly, he's like trembling. So all this, and the tears starts by seeing that he don't know that what is this tears coming from. It's like fear or like a happiness or like what the feeling, and he's like he's getting dizzy by seeing this. And these are all the physical symptoms he talk about, but which this is the real love, when he see the intense love, to see and desire to see that divine force, this is the manifestation is happening. And that's why his heart is overjoyed. That's what Sanjay is explaining. All these symptoms is all about intense love, that is to see the cosmic form of Krishna. And then he can see that all these symptoms is generating, and he's explaining to this Dhritarashtra. Now come back to the Arjun. So now as you come to the this in front of Krishna. So Arjun said, "Oh Krishna, behold, within your body, all the gods I can see, all the host on the different beings I can see. I can see Brahma seated in the lotus flower. I can see Shiva. I can see all the Saptarusis, the sages, the 7 sages, all the celestial gods and celestial serpents. I can see." So Arjun is very overwhelmed about all this and overjoyed and full of love, and he's talking to Krishna that yes, I can see that and I can feel it. I can see your infinite form. So he start talking the glory about the God now. So he said, I can see your infinite form in every direction. Countless arm I can see. I can see the so many stomach. I can see so many faces, so many eyes. O Lord of the universe, I can see the universe itself within you, in your mouth, in your eyes. I do not see anything, any beginning, middle, or end. So the whole drama is happening in front of him. So again, he used the word Vishwash, O Vishweshwara, the controller of the universe, and Viswarupa, universal form. So I can see the both together, the controller of the universe within this universal form. So it's very, very beautiful. So it's something like look like, I mean, it's the imagination. So imagine that, and this is a revelation form. So you will see all the universe is coming out, and all this Brahma and all these things coming out. So he's more fascinating about his form, and each and every the yogis, the sages, and all the weapons of each and every celestial gods with the garlands, with the mudras and everything, whatever the Vedas has explained about the universal God. All the scripture has this talk about the universal God. This is where you will see everything is happening real time in front of Arjun, and he's trying to explaining and he's talking the glory about the Krishna in front of him. Then Arjun say, I can see your form adorned in the crown and the arm. I can see all the crown, and I can see all the different so-called the warrior, the tools and the weapons and everything. That is everywhere you will see that handled by all the different celestial god. I can recognize the supreme imperishable being, the ultimate truth known by the scriptures. As I said, that all the scriptures has defined in some way or other ways that how the divine is will be. So I can see everything. All the scriptures talk about. I can see that now, and including the Sanatana Dharma, your eternal religion. I can see that is nothing to do with any religion. So what is the true eternal religion? I can sense it now, what you are talking about. And I can see that everlasting supreme divine personality that is everywhere. I can see that form. So he's trying to explain, and he's trying to be very fascinating about what he's seeing it. Again, in one of the Kathopanishad says, the Vedas, the aim of the Vedic mantras is to take us to the direction of the God. He is the object of the study of all the Vedas. So this is also, Arjun said the same thing here, that all the Vedic scriptures or the mantras, when we talk about Vedic chanting, it will take you to that direction of the God, revelation of this universal form. So Arjun can say that, yes, I can see what all the Vedas can try to talk about. And he also said, without any beginning, middle, or the end, I can see your power has no limit. Your arms is infinite, your sun and moon like your eyes, and the fire like in your mouth I can see. And I can see the entire creation by your radiance. The space between the heaven and earth and all directions is the whole movement of solar system. I can see and feel it. And I can see your negative power also, that the destruction power, the that also I can see your terrible form, you know, and then how that one side the creation is happening and one side there is a the destruction is happening. So all this greatest things is happening in the real time. And when he talk about this, he is talking about beyond the space and time, because there is no beginning and there is no end. So this is where it is by seeing that the destruction part, he's getting a more fearful and he's getting a little bit of worry about it. Now again, by seeing this, the changing the form is keep manifesting. He said, I can see all the celestial God is taking shelter and entering into you and praising the all. Everyone is praising you, you know, with a different folded hand. So it's maybe a namaskar or whatever different mudra. He's like try to please you and try to praising your glory as a universal form. And great sages with all with you and auspicious hymns and prayers they are performing to sing your glory. All the rudras I can see what you talk about, all the gandharvas, yakshas, asuras. So all the negative power, all these demons, everything I can see in at one place, and that is all beholding you and wondering you. So each and every I see the magnificent form. Each your mouth, your eyes, each and every movement, I can see the whole world is. I can see from your this side of it, the leg, the terrifying teeth, and the fire is happening. All these things I can see, and I can be more fearful by seeing that. Again, Arjun says, "Oh Vishnu, seeing your form of touching the sky, and then he's getting bigger and bigger, and then he see the whole form. Imagine that he's going beyond this whole big form, and then and different colors, and then your mouth is open and looks the color is changing, and so it's very horrible uh, experience. He can see that in a destruction part of it. So that is where he lost his courage and peace of mind. And I said, I can feel it, the fear within me. And having seen a lot of your mouth and terrible teeth, and the fire is coming out as a destruction, I forget that I don't know where to go, and I don't know. So here he said, "Oh Lord, shelter of the universe, please have a mercy on me." He said, "Now I can feel the fear. So please mercy on me and try not to show me this part of this." So again, here, you know, we like to see what we like to see. So far, as long as he's seeing the gods or the universal form in a more pleasant form, in a different way as per the Vedas and everything, then he's feeling good. But in the same time, the destruction part is revealing. He's getting fear, and then that's why he said, "You please have a mercy on me, because now I get fearful. I don't have a courage, and I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go." So similarly, for us also, we always like to see, as long as if it is going everything according to our plan, according to our wish and desire, we like, and we don't complain and we don't talk about it. But as long as anything wrong happens, that we so-called unexpected turning point in our life, unexpected relationship issues, unexpected money issues, or financial issues, or health issues, then we become fear. We lost our peace of mind. We lost our courage. But that time again, we need to see. Please give me your again a shelter in your universe and mercy on me. This is what Arjun requests. As many waves in the river, I can see that is merging in the ocean. Great warriors entering into your blazing mouth and entering to the great speed into your mouth. So many people is like churning out with the time. So the time is eating everyone, with the good one, the bad one, that all this warriors and the masters and everyone is going away with this slowly time. So he can see this fearful the distortion, and then he asking. Another reason he is fearful is, there is a hint here. We will talk this in a later in a different way, because Arjun is now is see the Krishna is more now is become a devotee. So this is where the essence of the devotee is coming here. That please forgive me. He don't see now no more. He's like a friend here. So by seeing this his form, he said, please have a mercy on me. And then he's like still requesting. So imagine that the small Arjun is like bowing down, and then you will see the big, like imagine this. So this is how he said, tell me who you are. Now he's like worried, because so far he was seeing Krishna as a friend and a human body and like a buddy. They play together, they like and they eat together and they travel together. So now in a way is a worry, and he says that tell me who you are, why you are showing me this fearful form of it. Oh God of God, I bow down and before you, please let me know please have a mercy on me, and who exists before all the creations. I wish to know who you are, and I want to comprehend your nature and workings. This is the very important question Arjun asked. Technically, he's asking Krishna who you are and what is your purpose. He's asking the universal cosmic God that who you are and what is your purpose. Because so far he's seeing the Krishna as like a friend, and then suddenly he sees all the fearful thing, and then he really worried. So he's asking that. Then Krishna asking, telling the Arjun, I am the mighty time of the source of destruction that comes forth. The whole world is going to die. So he's showing that I'm a form of time, that no one can stop me. So in a form of time, the destruction will happen slowly. So that's why we said everyone has his own time and season. We just need to wait. This is the cycle. So that is a karmic cycle, the time we call it about. And this time is beyond what we see the time in a 12 o'clock or 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. No, this is the karmic time. And this is where when we meet some person, when we have a knowledge with some person, when we have a guru, someone. So everyone has its own time and season. If you miss that, then you need to be aware with that wholehearted way. So then you can get that essence. So the time he said that the great destructions I'm the one who's doing, and without your participants, the warrior also going to opposing the army shells and cease the exist. So he said, you like it or not, I'm the one, all the warrior is going to die anyways, and they're going to go. So he says here also he's giving the hint that be ready, Arjun, and prepare the war for it. Because if you think that you are the one who's I'm encouraging for the war for, and then you will going to kill this Kauravas, they're already, he's showing that the if you don't kill, I'm going to kill anyways. I don't need your help. So he's trying to tell that all the warriors, including you, including everyone, is going to go and die. So in this is where he's telling this shortcut in a way that what is his purpose and who is he. So he show his realism. Now he's telling Arjun that if the warrior is already so good as a dead, then why the Arjun should not fight? So he said, you according to dharma, rules of the dharma, you should fight. And even if you don't fight, you are just a nimit matram. He used the word a nimit matram. You are just an instrument of his work, of the divine work. We are all the instrument of the divine. Why we met together, why we are doing what we are doing. At one point of time, we don't know each other. Today we are knowing each other. We are talking this different thing. A few months ago, we never know each other. So we are all instrument of divine. Your devotion, your hunger, your learning desire, somehow or other way, you have put it into the universe, and it's a demand and supply. And similarly, so we met together and this is how it is working out. So with me or without me, by the way, with you or without you, is going to work anyways. So this is our what I say is privilege. Your privilege, my privilege. That's where we come together and we are participating divine's work here. We need to understand this very, very clearly. So it's not that I'm teaching you this. It's the God is using me as an instrument and teaching you. God is using you as an instrument to learning you. God is using you as an instrument, and you are teaching to someone else, and you talk about someone else. So it's very demand and supply thing in a way. So we are all the nimit matram. We are all instrument. And this all, why we are doing all this? To establish a dharma. Now dharma here we are using the justice, or this what is right for at this point of time for this humanity. This is why we are doing it. We are not doing for any charity. We are not doing for any money. We are not doing for anything, but we want to establish dharma. This is what exactly the dharma is, to be one human to another human. So that is why Arjun, he's very directly said to Arjun, you are my instrument to fight a Kaurava, because you are the best. Today is the best archer you are. So I'm using you as an instrument, and you fight it and you kill them. And if you don't think, if you don't want to kill, that you don't want to fight, I don't need you anyways. I can directly kill all the Kauravas and I can win, because I want to establish dharma in justice for the Pandavas. Simple as that. So here we need to understand there are so few things here. I would like to emphasize more here. A lot of people take credit. A lot of people take credit that, oh, I have done it. So we should not take a credit. We are all instrument. When we teach, when we do something, we need to say this, it's a God grace. It's the same like the electricity cable. When you see the normal electricity supply, it is just a normal copper cable. That's where the electricity is passing, and that electricity, that copper cable is connected with that whatever the bulb or the laptop or that fridge or the aircon is connected, all this object, it will give that energy. So similarly, we are nothing but a copper cable. So when we connect it to our children, when we connect it to our friend, when we connect it to the society, we are lightening up that particular person, and we are contributing whatever the divine is passing us, a wisdom or the skill. Some people have a wisdom or skill to cook a good food. So mother is cooking a good food for the son or the family member. So the divine is giving, we as an instrument, and then you are cooking, and then you are passing it. So we should not take any credit. This is where the Krishna is talking and explaining Arjun. If we can do that, believe me, you will have so much of relaxation, because you don't take credit of yourself. There are two advantages here if we do this. One advantage is you become a transparent. So once you take, let's say you do and you did a successful implementation, then also say, oh, I'm just a medium, someone else is done it. That is giving you, that means that your connection is become your divine love, a divine cosmic connection is getting stronger and stronger. So next time when you do it, you know already that someone is giving me the download speed is higher, and I can easily download the message, and that the so-called the message from the divine. And the same time, and sometimes you do something wrong and the things is not coming out as for your good, then what happens? You don't take a burden, and you don't regret, and you don't go into that depression. Oh shit, I'm not good for anything. I have done wrong. No, still the God is giving you that skill, but some reason we have messed out. So nothing wrong in it. Then you will take again, okay, give me the courage to do the next time, I will do it correctly. So it anyways, either good or bad, that is what we call asthit pragna that we already discussed. So you don't be overjoyed and you won't go into a sad part of it, the depression part of it. So we need to become a nimit matram. We need to become instrument. You see any musical instrument, the instrument is instrument. But if you and me can play, we can play a different tone. But the more you accept it and you play around with it, then you're getting mastery. So this body also we need to use this way, that instrument. So, and we need to follow the divine's rule. Then it's more fun. The life is very easy. You don't take credit, nothing to lose. Then if you don't have your own, how are you going to lose it? So we need to understand this is a simple science. For that, we need to become opportunistic. Now, again, let me explain what you mean by this. As we said that student has to be opportunistic. Every divine is giving every opportunity. So that is like that. The internet is there, the Wi-Fi is there. You have to be opportunistic to click the download button. The moment you click, the file will download by you. If you don't click, someone else will click and download. So divine is everywhere. The rain is pouring everywhere, the drop of water. So we have to collect the rain drop. So you have to be opportunistic. Immediately you see the rain, okay, I want to put the bucket outside so that I can collect the drop of rain. I can collect the grace by the divine. So every opportunity, whenever we see to help, if I know the cooking, every opportunity I see to cook for the hungry people, to my family member, to my friends, to my relatives, I'm ready to give my best because the cooking skill is given by the divine. So I have to be opportunistic to cook every time. If I have a good painting, so I want to become opportunistic to create a beautiful painting and I want to sell it, or I want to do it a charity work or whatever way to the humanity. So we have to be very opportunistic to be connected with the divine. So every time divine calling is there, oh, I'm ready. That time you don't be a lazy child, So this is what it's talk about. Student has to be opportunistic. So this is indirectly the Krishna telling Arjun. Now, he also said to Arjun, "Oh Arjun, like Dronacharya, Bhishma, all this Karna and Jayadratha, all these brave warriors, they are already killed by me." He says that he showed in his real pictures. They're already going to die because I'm already, it's just the fight that you are going to victory over the enemies in the battle. So he already showing the future of this, that this Kurukshetra, all what I'm talking about, the Dronacharya, Bhishma and the Kauravas, they're going to die anyways, and you are going to win. But in the spiritual life, this is where he's trying to say that when we practice the spirituality, when we take in a day-to-day life, we as a human being, we have a lot of issues. We find ourselves so many times when we try to pursue the spirituality, the aspirant will find anger, greed, envy, lust, pride, all these emotion issues. We face it. How to solve this? How to solve these issues? Because we are human, we can caught into this. So he says, God wants you to succeed. So here the Krishna says, I want you to succeed. So your effort will be instrumental. When you do an effort, instrumental means you don't take credit and you don't take that, even that, oh, sad part also, you don't need to take credit. Oh, because of me, this is going to happen. So don't be regret. Don't be like a victim. Don't feel guilty anything you did. Same time, you don't take credit also. That, oh, because of me, I know this, I'm very good in this. No, we are just an instrument. So be instrumental, either case. Once we are doing that, then the God is fashion your victory by his grace. So God will give you the victory, and by his giving you his grace as a backup and as a grace as a power. So once we become an instrument, then the energy will automatically come as a form of the divine grace. and then you will accept it without anything, and automatically your hand and your mind and your skill will going to work, and you will be successful. But majority, what happens, we don't accept it, this grace, because we are majority time we take credit, we try to feel guilty, we try to feel that, oh, because of me I am good for nothing, or we go into depression or maybe overjoy. So once the moment we feel that the mind is creating this issues, that's why we are creating that illusion outside, and that so-called the uh, disturbance outside. So the grace is not allowing us, divine grace is not allowing and entering in within us, and that is why it's we are suffocating, and we feel angry, we feel emotional issues, and we greed, lust, anger, jealousy, hatred, all these things, and we don't know what to do with. And that these is the things, these are the things, these are the feelings that is giving obstacle in our spiritual life, not only spiritual life, our day-to-day life, our education, our relationship, our business, our study, and eventually it is affecting our health. So that's why, and if you remember, if you see, if you have any friends and relatives, so many time, some people, they are very tight in their discipline. Oh, 9 o'clock wake up and they go to job, they study properly, they work very hard, and then they plan their very meticulously day to day, very rigid with their uh, so-called the timetable, and then they don't go out, they don't drink, they don't party or whatever, which is fine. There's no right and wrong. And there are some people, they live the life very easily, very flexible. Oh, today they go party, okay, fine, today they go. So they can enjoy each and every moment in their life and take it an easy. They don't think too much, they don't think less also. So in that way they are living in the now. So you have to be, they are sometimes there, if you see, majority time they live instrumental life. The way we need to learn that this way, this is the key, not allowing ourselves in a disease, because you become more flexible. So you go with the flow. Try to be instrumental in a whatever state. The first thing you will get that advantage is you will get that grace. And when you get that grace, you will get that wisdom, you will get that knowledge to solve that problem, to solve the issues what you are facing in current life, current day. Automatically you realize, oh, I haven't tried that options, or I can do this, or I have this idea, I want to do this business, or I want to do this study part, or I want to do this job. So suddenly you will have a lot of ideas coming. Have you thought that where the idea is coming from is nothing but the grace in a form of the universal uh, uh, God is giving us. So, but are we ready to capture this? We don't need, the only way we can ready is just let go and be silent, so that you can feel. If the divine, if the God wants to communicate with you, what do you think? How they're going to communicate? In English? In any other language? No. They will communicate in a feeling. They will communicate in a form of sound. They will communicate in a form of other person. Have you experienced sometimes some unknown person come into that, and then they try to help you, and they disappear after some time? When you are walking the road and then suddenly you stop, you don't know where to go, and suddenly some people say, oh, anyway I can help you, and then, oh yeah, you can, okay, I want to go this place, oh, you go turn right and everything, and then disappear. So many ways, I have experienced so many interesting thing like this. I'm sure you have also experienced. So this is nothing but when we become transparent, when we become instrumental, automatically the help coming from the universe, no matter whichever field you are in. So we need to aware about this. So try to be instrumental, so that all this our emotion issues will sort it out automatically. Now here, after this, Arjun again says, oh great one, who are you? So you are even greater than Brahma, original creator. So now Arjun is talking and praising the divine by saying this, all this Vishwaroop. And he's talking about that all this imperishable reality and manifesting happening one side and non-manifesting happening other side is amazing. All the primal level God, originally divine personality, you are the knower and the object of the knowledge. So he can see everything in infinite form, and he can see all the Vayu, Yamraj, Agni. This is what Krishna explained in the previous chapter. He can see now, yet again and again. Now here he is talking about all the different form of God, the Chandra and the Yamraj, Agni, Brahma, Varun. And he says, I can give my offering, I can give that salutations 1,000 times again and again. So here why he's talking about different form and talking the Krishna, and then he wants to offering the salutations. We need to understand the Vishwarup. We need to understand the universal form of the God. He's giving in a way of example of the gold. What is gold? When you wear the different ornaments. So ornaments can be a bangle, or the maybe a necklace, or the ring, or any kind, or maybe pendant. So the different form can use with the different occasion. Male ornaments, female ornaments, child ornaments. With a different body part, you will have a different ornaments. But all ornaments, what is the essence here? They made out of gold. But the form is different, the design is different. Similarly, the electricity, what you see, it's the same, but the object is different. The light is different, the air condition is different, the fridge is different. So this is where he says, I can see all the universal form as a gold and all the different God. So even though he's talking a different God, it's like a different ornaments he's talk about. So you are everywhere. So he's trying to explain, and that's why he said, I can give my salutations again and again in every form of yours. Either is a God of death, or God of wind, or God of fire. So any form, I'm appreciating your presence. I'm appreciating and I'm saluting my so-called offering my prayers to you. So we need to understand this as a ornaments example. Now here, he's become very nervous, and is very interesting. And he did say that. He said, thinking you as my friend, I don't know you. So I always use the word Krishna, oh Yadav, oh my mate, dear mate. I was ignorant by your majesty. So I treat you with your disrespect. So now he's actually, because all the while we are playing, we are resting, we are sitting, we are eating, when we are alone. And I have also sometimes before others, I have already given you a disrespect. So Arjun is asking, is craving for the forgiveness. Now, this is very interesting here, because so far, Arjun is not aware of who is Krishna. You know, sometimes, I don't know, you maybe encounter, maybe your childhood friend, you meeting after so many times, and you are just meeting and everything, and suddenly you realize that he's become a very big personality, or he's become like a, let's say, actor, and you don't know sometimes that, or maybe a different position that you require, and then you suddenly, oh sorry, I think, then you may be little bit agitate. Suddenly you feel the difference that, oh sorry if I did a mistake, because I should not be behave in your office like this. So this is the same thing Arjun now feels it, because so far he was talking about Krishna as a friend, and as a friend he's ready to allow Krishna to ride his chariot. He said, if I know earlier that you are a universal form of God, I don't dare to talk about that. So he's now feeling uncomfortable. He's asking that and crave for forgiveness. Now here I would like to explain a little bit different way. This is where a lot of people, they caught into the physical form in gurus. Sometimes we have a mentality, we have a illusion, we have a belief We have a mindset. We have discussed in USA with students this topic few times. You know, to give you that example, uh, sometimes like some of your student talking about, oh, my teacher is here and this and that. So you know what the other student asking? What he's wearing? He's wearing pant and shirt. Is he married? What it means? There's nothing to do with that. So, but so that means she already have that idea or the belief that if the person is married, is the person having a children or the family, or he's wearing a normal t-shirt and pant, he's not a yogi. He's not a guru. You know. So this is where we are misunderstanding, like Arjun, the real form. This is also one way, number one. And same time, by changing the look, this is we discuss in Yoga Sutras. You know, sometimes if I can wear the nice a police dress and the cap, and then I can have the gear gun and everything, and I'm just standing, you automatically imagine and you will have a respect on me, because you'll see, oh, this guy is a police, and you don't dare to park the car or whatever. So this is how we see and we perceive, because of our belief system, because of our society, because we see and we try to imagine. We don't go into the validity, we don't go into that feeling, we don't know this. So the both ways we may go wrong. The real person we cannot recognize by outside, and the fake person we can become trust by seeing his outside. So we need to be aware. So, and if you see all the gurus past, you see the Kabir, you see the Narsimha Mehta, you see the Mira, you see the so-called Surdas to Tulsidas, even Ramakrishna, all the gurus, you take, Google it, you take the photograph. At any point, any dimension, they don't look like a guru. They don't look like a divine personality. They look like majority, they look like very, very simple and look like a beggar. How the intelligent person or the yogi like Vivekananda can trust? Oh, this guy can become my guru and he can show me this. This is where you need to be an instrumental and remove all the concepts and feel it. This is where the devotion is required. This is where the trust required. This is where that feeling required, like a child kind of innocence. This is how you fell in love with it. You when you fell down with love with someone, you don't think it, the feeling will take you. So we need to understand that what is taking you and how you are connected with the other person. That is giving you the right direction, and then automatically, by the way you encouraging and encountering day to day, automatically you know that, okay, this is what I can see the real of the person. So we need to be very aware and try to understand this in a very different way, that sometimes what you see is not what you get majority time, especially in the spiritual. So you look like the normal people, but it may not be, you know. And some people do a little bit different and weird things, so we try to judge by his profession, by his clothing, by his habits, but try to go beyond that and feeling. So this is exactly now the Arjun is asking. So I did a mistake because in knowingly unknowingly I treated and giving you the disrespect. So he's asking the forgiveness. So please forgive me. So then he said, therefore, O Lord, I'm bowing deeply, bowing down, and I give me your grace and tolerance. And all the friends I had give you, I'll give you in front of the friends. Please forgive me. And all the lover, how the lover pardons the beloved, how the if you are a friends, and how friends forgive you, and how the father tolerates his son if the son is doing any mistake, and how the father can let go his mistake and then adore you. So that way, you please forgive me my offenses, whatever I have done knowingly, unknowingly, because I didn't knew that you're this Viswarupa and the universal form. So whatever the mistake I have done, So please forgive me in that way, because I have never seen you before like this. I feel very, then he said, I am very grateful. He says again, I feel very great. And I feel also my mind is become very tremendous with the fear, trembles with the fear. And give me again, he said, the mercy on me again, and show me your pleasing form. Because now he said, I don't want to see this form. Come back to the normal form. You are my like buddy and my Krishna. You come back to that form and give me that, show me that mercy on me again. I have understood you. I have seen you. I can feel you, and come back to the real form. And then you please me again and give me the mercy by coming back to that normal so-called Chaturbhut form. Now here, he talk about Aishwarya Bhakti, the respect. And there is the two type of Bhakti, Aishwarya Bhakti and Madhurya Bhakti. So, although it's not discussed in this, Arjun is not talking about, but we need to have an essence here, two ways. There are two types of Bhakti. Aishwarya Bhakti is coming from the respect. Madhurya Bhakti coming for intimate personal relationship with the God. This is very interesting. So, when you talk, if you see the Ramayana and Mahabharata, the biggest difference in a Ramayana, you will see the Hanuman Bhakti, Hanuman devotions to the Rama is more like a respect. How we respect with our father, how we behave with our friend, and how we behave with our, let's say, father. Different, right? We are more comfortable with friend. So how we are, and with the Krishna is like more buddy. So if you see the in a Mahabharata, everyone is doing a bhakti is like more intimate relationship with the God, intimate relationship with the Krishna. So it's everything is like, okay, you know, your buddy, they are dancing together, they are singing together, they have fun together with the divine. Likewise, in a bhakti, Aishwarya Bhakti, the respect is to be there. Oh, he's there. So there is a rituals there. There is like, oh, if maybe how he will feel it. So this is, we need to aware about it. So there is a difference, but there is no like one is good with the another one. No, both are the same, but is a different way of showing the devotion. Okay, so don't take it that okay, the Madhurya Bhakti is good compared to the Aishwarya, but both ways is the same way. We are doing a respect, and one is more intimate personal relationship. That's why the Krishna is the only God you will see is like with the, you can put it anywhere, you can see him any form, and you can relate anyone with his. You can see as a boyfriend, you can see as a devotee, as a friend, as a person, as a boss, as a guide, as a teacher, as a guru, as a master, and he has done his own life that way. So it's very interesting to see the whole life of the Krishna. We will, as we discussed, we will talk maybe after this Gita. I would like to talk his as a character. Forget about he's a god or he's whoever it is, but it's like everyone likes to read the novel. So see that Krishna as a one character, how he born and how he died, the journey. If you can understand his presence and his personality and the essence, you will fun with it and you will love it, because this is what he has everything, but he doesn't own it anything. This is how he's using his life as an instrument. So we have to also live it that way. We should have everything, but we should not possess anything. We need to become transparent, because this is the truest way we should live. Ultimately, we came with empty-handed, and we are going empty-handed, in the sense that we are not taking any materialistic word, but what we want to carry with immense joy, appreciation, and love with us. So that's what he's talking about, and we need to understand that. So now the Krishna says, the blessed Lord says, "O Arjun, being pleased with you, I am very pleased with you. And yes, I understand my Yog Maya power will give you the vision and don't worry about. He said, this is what you are seeing, my cosmic form. No one before you has ever seen it. So you are the first one. I reveal it to you. And not only by studying of the Vedas, or you perform any kind of yagyas or sacrifice or the rituals, or you do any kind of charity, or you do any severe or austerities, or any mortal, or even whatever you have ever seen, what you have seen right now. So you are the lucky one. In a way, he's trying to say that. And he's also saying and confirming that don't be afraid. He's assuring, because he was afraiding by seeing that fearful thing. So he's giving the assurance that don't be afraid and free from the fear. So he's giving the assurance here, and he's come back to his normalcy. So that way he's giving his respect, love, and then, okay, don't worry about it, I'm coming back. Here Arjun said, oh Krishna, seeing your gentle human form, now he's come back to the normal form, the two-arm form. I am regained my composure and my mind is restored as a normal. So I said, I feel now relaxed by seeing you as my buddy Krishna or my friend Krishna, and I can see you this in a normal swarup. So then Krishna said, oh, this form of mind, what you are seeing is difficult to behold. Even the celestial God is eager to see. So what you have seen is everyone is dying to see. So you are the lucky one, and neither you study Vedas or any penance or the charity or sacrifice of fire, you cannot see this kind of form. So this is what he made a clear-cut answer, that no matter what you do, even celestial God also, they are eager to see this form, and they cannot see that, and that what you have seen just now. So he's asking a few questions, and this is where the Krishna asking, and this is what we need to take away, a very important lesson from this chapter. How can the God personal form can be seen? Now he's asking so since Krishna defined this, Krishna raised indirect a question that only you, just now you have seen my this form, even celestial God also cannot see, and they always eager to see that. So then question asked, Arjuna asked, if I want to see again. So indirectly he is asking on behalf of us. You and me wants to see this kind of universal form of divine. How can we see? This is very important question. So he says, O Arjun, by constant unalloyed devotion alone only I can know and standing before you, thereby receiving my divine vision, and you need to union with me. And same time, only bhakti as a means of attending him. He says that universal form can be seen only by devotion. So this is very, very clearly Krishna says that only bhakti yoga you can attend in me. You can see me, you can feel me. And in order to do bhakti, the key ingredient is the only devotion. So if you have a devotion, remember now connect with that previous chapter. Once you have the first ingredients, we need a pure devotion. Once you have a devotion, you will know how to do bhakti. Once you are doing in bhakti, you will feeling love, and then you will develop a grace. You become an instrumental person, so that the moment you become instrumental, you will get a divine grace, and with his grace, you will get able to see that God. You are bypassing all these channels. You no need to do yoga. You no need to chant any mantra. You no need to learn the scriptures. You can be a stupid, but you know how to devote yourself, whatever you do. That's exactly all you see, the Surdas, Kabir, Narsi Mehta, Mirabai, Tulsidas, you see all this tremendous poet. They are uneducated. but they written amazing poet, amazing proverbs, amazing chappa and akha and all these things in two-liner that is difficult to explain by the Harvard University graduate, because it's purely written through the heart and with the devotion. When you have a devotion, when you have a shraddha, automatically the fall in love with the divine will happen. And everywhere they will see the universal form, the divinity within that divine. Every object, every five elements, every energy, every matter, they can see the Krishna or the divine, they can feel it. It's the same thing when you fall in love with newly falling love, you will see your boyfriend anytime. You will feel the presence of it. The moment you think about your boyfriend, immediately you will see the call. The tuning is so powerful. That's exactly because you are thinking 24/7. You can visualize him, you can smell him, you can feel him, you can feel the presence. You will think. So powerful this happening. Then you can feel, and immediately, oh, I was thinking about you and you call me. I was about to write you and you write message, because that instantly happened so fast. So this is nothing but you are devoted to that boyfriend for that particular time. You fall in love with that. And that is why we call fall in love. You don't plan and fall. You fell down. You don't plan, you walk and fell down. So that happens. Now, this is the same thing Krishna asking for him, because he's our boyfriend. He's our friend. So when we fall in love with him, with devotion, you will see his presence. Simple as that. Now, this is where require no brainer. What that we already talk about, that is go beyond the gunas, beyond this sattva, rajas, and tamas, and we beyond this intelligence. We don't need to use mind, we need to use heart. That's why when we talk about love, we don't talk about heart. We always talk about heart, because heart can feel the emotions. So we go beyond that. So devotion is all about feeling. And when we talk about bhakti, it's all about heart. It's not about mind. So that's why bhakti cannot be taught. There is no class for the bhakti. Understand that. In the name of bhakti, tomorrow you will see the bhakti yoga flow. Tomorrow you will see the bhakti, so-called the graduation will be there. The specialization topic will be there. How you can teach. Sometimes I see in Singapore when I came earlier, now sometimes I see that even some of the other country also you will see. They are teaching the kindness movement. How to teach kindness. How to teach the courtesy. How to teach devotion. This is the inbuilt human being nature. You just has to be human. Automatically you will love it, because all these things is inbuilt in our heart, inbuilt our body. As a mother, you don't need to teach. When you become mother, you know how to take care of child. You don't need to take any course how to become a mother and how to take care of the child. Because automatically you know. This is the nature is teaching you. So we need to go with the flow. But we so become non-instrumental nowadays. That's why we don't allow that grace in ourselves. And that's why we become fear. And we don't have a clue what we want to do. So just remove everything, allow that grace, allow that, download that emotions, download that instructions. And then what will be you need to do the function. And it will be more fun, believe me. So Krishna here says that only bhakti means to attain me, and then you need to use the key ingredients of devotion. What is bhakti? So he says, those who are performing all the duties for my sake. The same thing, like your boyfriend or your husband, they want you to see 24/7, think of me every time. Or as a wife, or you see me every time, you think about me. So Krishna is very possessive in that way. Krishna says, you every time you talk about me, all your duties you offering to me. You always who depend on me, always you depend on me, who devoted to me, free from the attachment. And all the devotees certainly come to me. So here he is emphasizing on the supremacy of the path of the devotion. So this is how we should be constantly be in touch with the Krishna. Whatever we do, we're cooking, it's the same thing. If you are newly married or newly find a boyfriend, how you are thinking constantly whatever you are doing. But that in our material relationship, or when you marry, after some time, after a few years, you forget that. We don't feel that love anymore because we busy in our children and day-to-day life and everything. Then slowly that love fade away. But this is exactly, we are become busy and we feel that essence is going away. Now Krishna asking the same unattached devotions. He said, you attach fully with me. Whatever you are doing 24/7, whatever you are doing, depend on me. Think about me. All your duties, you connected to me as a center. And then all the devotees is always come to me. So here he is giving a hint and he's opening a new chapter, or the upcoming chapter. He talk about path of devotion and bhakti. So he put the highest rank. If you want to know me, you have to come from the devotion. Forget about it. If you come any other path, you don't get me. Simple as that. Very straightforward. So in that sense, he's talking that he's opening up a next chapter of Bhakti Yoga. So the next chapter, chapter 12, we talk about Bhakti Yoga. Krishna has talked about Bhakti Yoga. What will be the Bhakti Yoga? What is the characteristic of the Bhakti Bhakta, the person who's practicing the Bhakti Yoga? So it's very interesting how he's connecting all this. And this is where we are connecting together, and we can get him, basically. So any questions you have for this particular chapter?
Not right now, but thank you.
Okay, so any other? All okay? Yeah.
So the opportunistic means be ready whenever.
Yes.
Yeah, that's, and if there is opportunity, then you just take it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the opportunity.
When the rain of grace is coming,
Yeah.
you have to be ready. Then you cannot just find the vessel, and within 5 minutes the rain will go away. So as a devotee, as a student of the spiritual, you have to be opportunistic. Whenever the teacher, whenever the master, whenever they talk about ready, okay, let's go, I'm ready, okay, teach me, I'm grabbing. So we become opportunistic. We don't want to lose this opportunity for the class, for talk, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay. What is Vedic mantra?
Sorry, what?
What is, you mentioned about the Vedic mantra?
Vedic mantra, yeah. So so it's all about Vedas,
Yeah.
Vedas has a different mantras and chanting of the mantras of praising of the Vishnu, praising of the yeah. So all the basically the Vedas, the scriptures.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So they all talk about the glory of the universal God. So that's what it says.
Okay.
So okay. So if you don't have question, if you realize.
I have one question. Sorry, but I wrote it
Okay.
down.
Yeah, Alexandra, tell me.
I wrote it down in the message, but I can repeat it. Like I was wondering, like that connection that you see that you talk about it with your partner, with your close friends, and it's like, oh my gosh, I was thinking about you, and you just call. I was thinking about you, and you just wrote me. Synchronicity. It's part of devotion. It is possible to have that with many people in your life, including God, your kids, your close friends. Like it's possible, like we are ready to have that power to be as devoted and connected with a lot of beings.
See, this is little tricky question. Technically, we have all connected with each other, but why certain people has as you said, when you think about I message you or whatever, because when we have a relationship, so that's why if you see, go back to that, when we started the first lesson. If you remember the first day what I have done it, this is where certain things we call it as a registration of the student and the teacher. So certain ways, certain relationship has a special meaning compared to that our mother and father or children. It will go more biological meaning that also can help and connected each other. Boyfriend and girlfriend or the husband and wife has also certain level. Student and teacher has certain level, and divine and the devotees also have a certain level. But this is the highest level we can get it, because in a material world, other relationship, it has other person. If don't be, you are putting 100%, but the other person is lost in some ways, you won't get that communication as easy, as formal, as fast, two-way, as what you have a God and devotees, or the student and the master, or the guru and the student. That is one way. But same thing, the more you spiritual practice, your is increasing in terms of pranayama, meditation, and you become more stable. You will receive it more. When you receive it more from your loved ones or the boss or even the day-to-day life, it is easy for you to connect. So it's not that their receiver is become stronger, but your receiver becomes so powerful and receive, so that automatically you become so natural instrument that, oh, let me call this my boss or my ex-boss, say hello, and that automatically make you him to think about it. So again, I said, is all up to us how powerful you want to be connected with that divine. The rain is already there. It's just that, if you remember, I always said, it is the moment the Wi-Fi is already connected, it's your responsibility to be in the range. The moment you go out of the range and then we need to connect, it won't be possible. So come back to the range and then practice it and be within the range. Then automatically you will get that download features. Is that answer your question?
Yes, I know it's a tricky answer, like a tricky question, and it's hard to answer, but yes.
But simple way is, we need to prepare, and then I think you will get that connection. You will receive it faster than them. And then once you stay connected, I think it's easy to be aware that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
One more question
Yeah.
about the Aishwara Bhakti and the Bhakti
Madhurya Bhakti. Yeah.
Is it can have a both, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sometimes it starts with the respect. It's a very beautiful thing. It works two ways. Sometimes it's like your father. Initially, you start respect and then you become buddy. And similarly, when you start with the buddy and then slowly you start giving respect as a friend also, as a life partner also, whatever, or some people grow that spiritual level high. So you automatically develop a respect. But so that's what I said. There is no priority or that one better is with another one. Both is the same, and both it's the same thing, but it's a different way. People show their respect. Some people is very different way to put it everything in a more respectful way. But you cannot ignore and that's why the if you see, sometimes you go to certain temple or certain church or certain rituals, they are very strict. They want you to perform in a sophisticated, so they are like, they want to pay the respect to that whatever they are doing it. And certain areas you become very easy and going in. I'll give you some example. When I was conducting the class in Miami also, in one of the area. So, and you know that how in Singapore also we conduct the class, the students are like lie down, the way they're like a free sitting. They don't bother about how they lie down and it's like, and they have a cup of tea, and then so it's very informal environment. Now same thing, when I was conducting class in Singapore, one of my teacher came and he freaked out by seeing this. Why you are not taking actions against them? Why they are like, they don't have a discipline, and they're like, there's no proper way they are sitting, and this is how you are teaching the yoga and everything. So he is teaching more respectful way. Now my style is easy. We are teaching both things. You understand? And there is no right and there is no wrong. In a way, yes, there is a right. You have to be disciplined, but we need to be flexible enough, as long as you have a same desire and same respect of learning. So there is a difference. So when there is a first day, yes, you are sitting, but after that, after the practice, you can be relaxed and relaxed. So we need to know where to put a boundary, the respect, and where to go beyond the boundary. That is very important. A lot of people cross the boundary. Now same thing applies to student as well, and teacher also cross the boundary with the student, and that is where we need to be aware. But it can be both ways.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, any questions? All good? So yeah, so if you don't have questions, so next we will continue. The next topic is the Bhakti Yoga, about so chapter 12, and now onwards. So Arjun is already convinced, and he's going to take the bow, and then he's going to fight. But Krishna is still experiencing and talking him that by fighting you it doesn't give you any good medals or anything. So why you are fighting? So he will explaining him in a more detail. So it's very interesting how the things is going on. Now onwards, we are going very deeper and very subtle part of it. Okay, that's where it is. There is no class for this, by the way. So you need to churn out through your practices, through your whatever you have learned it, and that's where you may have a lot of passions. So we will try our best to communicate, we discuss, and then let's see how we can grow together. And I am also planning and developing the certain practices and tools for that once it's complete, and then we see how it can help us, all of us, in a different role, as a mother, as a student, as a teacher, and how whatever your profession is, and how we can apply this whatever we are learning in day-to-day life. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for your time, and then we'll see you next Thursday,
Okay.
9:30. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. See you.